Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good morning, my name is Jonah Jung, and these are your news headlines for 3:30. BC Finance Minister Brenda Bailey has announced the details about the new figures from the first quarterly report for the current fiscal year. The report released this afternoon says the province's possible deficit has hit a record high of almost $11.6 billion for the 2025 to 2026 fiscal year. Bailey also says that the province will face higher deficits than she expected to in 2028, with the provincial debt spiking by almost $60 billion. The update also says that gross domestic product growth went down from 1.8 to 1.5 in 2025. The deficits over the next two fiscal years is expected to spike by about $2.5 million each year. Surrey Police Service say they are investigating a shooting that hospitalized one man with non-life-threatening injuries. The police say the man was allegedly shot after there was an altercation between two groups at Bear Creek Park. SPS reports that the incident happened on Saturday around 9 p.m., with the victim being transported to the hospital by his friend. The police say the alleged suspect was a South Asian man who fled in a gray-colored sedan looking for further information from the public. The City of Surrey has announced that it'll fund a $200,000 fund to the community in extortion cases. The Surrey Police Service say they are investigating into 44 extortion cases, with 27 of them being involving shooting. The Mayor of Surrey, Brenda Locke, shares a message of solidarity amidst the extortions happening. She says that the City of Surrey will continue to be strong amidst the increased crimes. Simon Fraser University says Canada's fastest academic supercomputer is now located at its Supercomputer Center in Burnaby. SFU installed a new supercomputing system called FIR, located in the university's Cedar Supercomputer Center, which supports research and collaboration for the 17,000 users, with 70% of them located outside of BC. SFU says FIR will use clean energy and allow its users to access world-class AI system. The university professor of molecular biology and biochemistry, Fiona Brinkman, says this resource is extremely valuable as it supports research for healthcare system for Canadians. Today, September 15th, is World Lymphoma Awareness Day. Reporter Leah Warren has more on the importance of bringing recognition to the disease.
Every 33 minutes, someone in Canada is diagnosed with lymphoma, says Antonella Risa, CEO of Lymphoma Canada. In light of Lymphoma Awareness Day, Lymphoma Canada is hosting a few national events. Laps Around Lymphoma encourages the public to walk 100,000 steps in recognition of the 100,000 Canadians that live with the disease. In addition, tonight, landmarks across the country, including Vancouver's Science World and BC Place, will be lit purple in the hopes of increasing awareness and support of lymphoma. It is awareness, Risa says, that helps people recognize when to get help.
The more awareness we bring to it, the more people know that, hey, maybe I should get this checked out.
Risa adds that the goal is to make sure that people don't ignore symptoms and delay treatment. Leah Warren, BCIT News.
As the Albertan government says it'll be adding the proof of citizenship and healthcare numbers to the driver's licenses, Liberal members of the Parliament are displaying disagreement. Liberal Member of Parliament Talib Nur Mohammed says such decision is not what he would choose to make.
I think as Canadians, we have a set of values in this country. We respect people, where we focus on what the law requires. And it's remarkable to me that Alberta's going down that path.
Premier of Alberta Danielle Smith says the CAN symbol will streamline services and enable more access to social assistance. She says the changes will prevent voter fraud and protect democracy. The provincial government says there will be more opportunities in the life sciences industry for the younger generation. As the unemployment rate has gone up by 6.3%, the province is funding nearly $2 million to create a workforce development program for the youth struggling with unemployment. The 2-year program called Castle Elevate BC will be in partnership with the Government of Canada. Victoria says the program will provide young people with hands-on experience, with those with income assistance in priority. As the members of the parliament returned to the House of Commons, Pierre Poilievre, who lost his riding, came back to square off against Prime Minister Mark Carney during the question period. The government House leader Stephen McKinnon hopes that Poilievre understands how parties should be on the same page. McKinnon says the parties should agree that for there to be a good day for Canada. The opposition leader has denounced Carney for spending more budget than expected on his first day.
He promised that he would spend less. He's already spending 8% more. He promised the budget would be in October. Now he says it will be in November, more than halfway through the fiscal year. He promised that his government would have a smaller deficit than Justin Trudeau. Instead, now we hear that it might even be double.
McKinnon has said the budget is expected to be presented to the House of Commons next month. The City of Montreal and the Canadian government have announced a joint investment of $320 million to support the housing development in Montreal. This funding will be catered towards the Namur Hippodrome neighborhood that will feature a carbon-neutral living environment full of green spaces. Through the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund, the funding of $128.3 million combined with $192.5 million from the City of Montreal will help the City of Montreal and the Canadian government launch the urban development project. The City of Montreal says neighborhood will include 20,000 non-market housing and 14 hectares of green space. The Alberta government has filed a complaint with the Labor Relations Board against the teachers' union. Finance Minister Nate Horner says the complaint is related to the document that the Alberta Teachers Association distributed after setting a strike date on November 6th. The government says the document consisted of false claims explaining the teachers' employers' bargaining association does not have right to negotiate class complexity, size, and support for students. The union has not yet responded to the legal action. After the conservative public speaker Charlie Kirk had passed away, U.S. lawmakers and Trump administration members attended the prayer ceremony and the remembrance vigil held at the Kennedy Center in Washington. The director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, praised Kirk and called him a person who lived by his principles. Kirk was shot last week while he was speaking at Utah Valley University and was transported to the hospital. The U.S. Vice President Marco Rubio says the U.S. will not be able to reach unison as there are people celebrating Kirk's death, condemning them. The U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance says the national unity will not be achieved with the people celebrating Kirk's killing. The Republican vice president said today that the Trump administration will try every option to bring true unity to the United States, condemning those who condoned political violence. The Trump administration members attended the vigil for Kirk, who was shot while giving a speech in Utah Valley University. After Israel has struck Gaza again today, U.S. and Israel have shown a united response in international society's anger over Israel's airstrikes. Israel has landed airstrikes on Hamas leaders who are hiding in Doha, the capital of Qatar. Today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio stood shoulder to shoulder in Jerusalem. Despite the President Trump's displeasure over Israel's strike in Qatar, both leaders said the only way to cease the conflict is the complete annihilation of Hamas and releasing all of its hostages.
We still have a Hamas that is not only holding 48 hostages, they're holding Gaza hostage, and they're using civilians as human shields. There's still a dangerous element, and as long as they exist, as long as they're around, there will be no peace in this region, because they are not agents of peace, they are agents of barbarism.
Rubio will head to Qatar, where the Arab and Islamic leaders will meet to release a joint statement about the strike on Doha. As the conflict in Gaza goes on, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will be visiting Qatar to figure out the solution in Gaza. Qatar will be hosting a meeting with the Arab and Islamic leaders to release a joint statement about Israel's attack on its capital.
We are focused on what happens now. What happens next? What role can Qatar play possibly in reaching an outcome here that leads not just to the end of this hostilities, not just to the release of all of the hostages, both living and deceased, not just the disarmament and elimination of Hamas, but also a better future for the people of Gaza.
The Vancouver Canucks are finally back in action for the first time. This weekend, they had their players demonstrate the prospective showcase. Yesterday, the Canucks defeated the Seattle Kraken with a score of 3-2. This comes after they lost against the Kraken with a score of 5-3 the day before. The team's first prospect, Jonathan Lekermaki, recorded a goal in the win. His line mate Riley Patterson not only scored but also followed an assist as well. The Canucks will be back in action this Sunday to play their first preseason game. Cincinnati Bengals coach Zach Taylor has confirmed that the team's quarterback, Joe Burrow, will have surgery on his injured left toe. Taylor did not provide details about how long his absence will be or when he will have surgery. The toe injury will sideline Burrow for at least 3 months, say experts. This is Burrow's third major injuries ever since being the top overall pick in the 2020 draft. After reaching the playoffs with a surprise of the many, the Montreal Canadiens face increased pressure with a new NHL campaign as the new NHL campaign approaches. After reaching the playoffs with a surprise of the many, the Montreal Canadiens face increased pressure as the new NHL campaign approaches. Captain Nick Suzuki addressed the expectations as he spoke at the team's annual golf tournament.
Inside our room, we had higher expectations than everyone outside last year, and I think, now everyone knows that we're a good team and we can compete with anybody and win those games. So I think it's just a matter of putting it all together through camp and having a good start.
With their game against the Penguins happening in a week in the preseason, Suzuki says everyone sees his team as a playoff team, and so do his teammates. As the Montreal Canadiens head to the NHL season with heightened expectations, Jeff Gordon, the vice president of the hockey operations, says,
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
I would recommend this program for anyone that isn't sure what kind of job they want in media, because you learn everything from like public relations to communications to video editing, like radio, TV. So you do get a lot of experience in all the different fields in media.